Just thoughts on the game.
Well, it felt like the first half was just super choppy. We never really got into any sort of flow. Offensively, we had 15 turnovers in the half. Obviously, was a huge detractor from our offense and just getting some things going. But we kind of let it impact us on the defensive end as well. And there was truly like a 3-minute stretch towards the end of the second quarter that it really felt like things kind of got away from us. And that's where I know I'm going to watch this game back and I'm going to be saying to myself, screaming at the computer to call a timeout, call another timeout. And I know there's things that I'm going to be saying I needed to do differently in some of those moments. And honestly, even in the first half to help our team get a little bit of offensive flow. So I do like the bounce back. We obviously had a better second half. And when we went to, they kind of extended a lead a little bit. And then when we went to a little bit of pressure, we got a little bit of energy going. And so some of that stuff is good to see. It didn't feel like we were completely out of it. It felt like we still had a chance, and I think that's a good mindset for our team to have, and just knowing that they're not going to quit. But, yeah, I think I'm going to watch that first half back and say there's about 10 things I should have done differently to help them out.
I think Casey only had 4 points in the first half. I mean, as a non-incredibly great shooting team, how much does that hurt you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where I look back at, like, Denver and kind of the same thing happened, and it just tells us that we got to get more reversals. In the first half, that ball really stuck, and it felt like it stuck on the right side of the floor. We never got it to that left wing, and those are the kind of things we need to do. We need to get the ball moving because St. Thomas was really trying to pack it in, and most teams do. When Casey gets the ball, gaps are going to be a lot tighter. Everyone's going to kind of have eyes on her. And so if we just one pass, try and get a shot, one pass, whatever, the defense is still eyes on her. And that's where we have to get movement, we have to get reversals, we have to get some cuts, and we have to make the defense get a little bit out of position, and then we can allow her or anyone truly to go to work. And so that's things that, as a coach, I need to be able to help maybe facilitate that specifically with certain calls or whatever that might be. But yeah, it was truly just the lack of movement and then obviously the turnovers.
Yeah, I guess turnovers first. Just thoughts on how that affected the first half and the rest of the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously they just take you out of rhythm, and some of them just seemed like we were really trying to force some things, and you could definitely tell St. Thomas was ready for some of the stuff that we had. I can specifically think of baseline out of bounds play. You see their whole bench screaming, and we're still trying to throw the ball in when we definitely need to be, looking for the next play or whatever it might be. But yeah, just gotta really emphasize taking care of the ball, and it's one of those things that I'm mirror testing everything right now. I'm saying, what can I do to help our team in practice? Because you're not going to fix anything in the middle of a game. Sure, you're going to make some adjustments, but it's in practice. It's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that we got to do something so that we can clean some of these things up.
Rebounding, obviously been a huge focus. How'd you feel tonight about it?
Well, not great. I definitely saw some opportunities that we could have kept them out, and they definitely hit some threes towards the end of that second quarter that were off offensive rebound kickouts. And so those were some of the plays that really gave them massive momentum. And that run they made, I mean, again, I don't want to take any credit away from St. Thomas because they're a good team, and we've seen that. I mean, they've played with everybody in the league. They've played overtime games. They've played, buzzer beater games, a couple of them. So they're a good team. I have to focus on what we can do, and what we can do is box out.
What are you going to talk about at the start of next week heading into Thursday against South Dakota?
South Dakota, yeah. I think the big things will be exactly what we just mentioned. How do we take care of the ball better? How do we work on rebounding better? And the analogy I gave our team is it's like football. Football, sometimes you don't want to work on tackling because there's risk of getting hurt, right? You need to be a good tackling team to be a good defense, but you don't want to get anybody injured. Well, we need to be a good rebounding and boxing out team. We don't want to get anybody injured, but we got to work technique. And so there's some things that we're going to have to work on, and technique of rebounding and just decision making are things that we're going to have to really highlight, emphasize, make sure that we're very aware of in practice, so that when it comes game time, we can see if we're passing the test.